Dodi and I had to milk sheep. And I managed to spend 10 years here on Sololem. And I think without lying, it was perhaps the best 10 years of my life. Actually, I don't want to spoil your show, Dodi, but I got to Sololem from Beitar. Anyway, we have fantastic friends here, unfortunately. A few of them are missing. Please forgive me, Dodi, if I forget anyone. Joey Richter and Leibige Vanovitz, Errol Hoffman and Philip Myers. Fantastic guys, and we'll still today, and then of course there's Marion, and she came on later. Oh, I didn't mention Joey, of course I mentioned Joey. And we were a little bit more than just friends, because what happened was in Tirunut, I came here Boded, Karim from Beitar, and they convinced me. There was the guys from Kibbutz Shluchot, the Datiyim, perhaps I would have been with Bennett today. They asked me to come there, but Joey and, no, it wasn't, Errol wasn't with me, but Joey and Clive Gideon convinced me to come to Sololem, so we got here. Anyway, it's a real privilege for me to greet you all, and to remember fantastic guys, and please forgive me, as I said again, if I forget someone. Thank you, Dodi. Good guy.
Okay, now I want to just say something about late Philip. Philip and I, we used to milk the sheep together, of course, when we first came to the kibbutz, and we used to go out grazing. Then the sheep would go out grazing, and Errol would be on one, Philip would be on one hillock with the sheep, and I'd be on another, and the breakfast would come. Now, who's preparing the breakfast? Shuka. And Shuka had a big protector for Philip, so he'd get extra salad and everything, and the hill said, I got salad, and that really irked me, and irked me in a good way, and he had a lot of protection from that way, and I'm glad that Shuka's here, and that's one of the stories with Philip. The other stories with the rams, they're all other stories that I went out grazing once, and in the Zaytim, which is quite far from the kibbutz. And it was getting hot, so I started taking off my clothes. There's no one around, so I put it in a bundle, and I put it in one of the trees. Whenever the sheep moved, I moved it, for the sheep. Anyway, so just kept on going, go out the whole day till 5 o'clock in the evening. At about 2 o'clock, they are singing the Tzofim, or one of the Nora going for a teal past me. I said, where's my bundle? I didn't remember which tree my bundle was, really. And the sheep started going there, and I'm looking there, and I'm running, I'm naked, absolutely naked. And this way, and now they're coming marching nearer and nearer now. In the end, they passed through, and I was left naked with the sheep there, with 300 sheep. No telephones, no WhatsApp, nothing. You couldn't even shout, and there's the kibbutz in there, and I have to wait around. I was supposed to be back at 5 o'clock. They saw I'm not coming, so it was already getting dark already. And when I came back, they nearby, I said, I'm naked. They said, what do you want from us? We've got newspapers here, that's all. I said, so give me a newspaper. So sleeping with a newspaper, and that evening in the shower, the Mishutaf, they all had a good laugh at my expense. That's one of the real true stories that happened. Anyone Anyone else? Anything? It's better be funny.
I just want to say something about an opera friend of mine, two Michigan, that used to go to opera, and we both got into the chorus when the Italian Opera Company came to South Africa. They brought all the lead singers, about 8 people, what was his name, Gilli and his daughter, and a few others, but they, and an orchestra from Italy, but they formed a choir in Johannesburg and in Cape Town for the concerts. So Philip and I don't know whether Frankie knows this, but Philip and I both sang in the opera chorus with all these big singers. Philip and I also were friends from before, from Plumstead, where he and Frankie grew up. I grew up in Maitland, but we were always solid friends. And one of my best friends was Sidney Brovey, who just dropped off the planet. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of where he went to, got lost somewhere. But Philip's cousin was Mike Brodie, who was an older brother of Sidney. And he was a real boffin of opera. He wrote books about opera and all sorts of things. So there's a lot of memories that have got nothing to do with Benediction, but it's got a hell of a lot to do with good, solid, sincere friendship. Thank you.
Well done.
Who's next? Lenny. Lenny Cartoon is a guy that looks after some of the things that are very important in Benediction. And whenever you ask him, he says, doesn't give you a word or a sentence, he says, "Get tough. Taqsif Khaser." Tough head.
We were talking about opera, but I'll just tell you something that I never forget about Benediction camp. One day we were going around the Chanichim looking that everything's okay, and we came into a tent and there was a terrible stink. We said, you know, what happened? So one of the little kids, who must have been about 10 or 12, he said, well, I went to the toilets, and those of you remember the toilets of Benediction camp, there were buckets with just a wooden plank with holes in it, and used to sit above the bucket and do what you had to do. So he said, I wanted to make a wee, he said, and I couldn't reach, so I climbed onto the seat and I fell in. So we said, you know, did you go have a good shower? He said, no, it's cold. I'm going tomorrow. So the Madrichim got bosim, and we spread it around the place and sent him off to have a shower. That's what the Benediction camp was like.
Hasn't changed much.
Not such a good advert, but anyway. I'd like to also tell you something about Ivan, who's taken a video over there at the back with the blue shirt.
What's our connection? What's our connection?
Our connection, well, he was at Benediction camp, and he said, well, I said, you know, we had great people like Levi Gefanovitz and
Joe Richter.
So he says, I don't like them very much. I said, well, why? What happened? It appears that the camp that Ivan was, he'd been very naughty, and Levi decided to expel him from the camp with another 3 kids, another 2.
2 other kids, yeah.
And so
dishonorably discharged.
Honorably discharged.
Dishonorably discharged.
From going out to the Blue Moon Hotel or something like that. Really something that they shouldn't be doing, and he honorably discharged them. And who did he put in charge to see they get on the train all the way?
Joe Richter.
Joey Richter. And,
he was such a darling, this guy. Really.
So, and only recently I discovered that Ivan lives very far away here in Bet Lechem Aglili, and I only discovered this like 3 years ago. He's also the one that sold Lenny, his father sold Lenny his house. Is that right, Lenny?
Mashik is that?
Okay, so Kol Nishar B'Mishpacha. Okay, I'd like to welcome Ziv Geffen, who's having a chat with Yaron. Hi, Ziv. And we're getting a bit worried because you know, we thought you got lost on the way. So we're busy reminiscing about people who are no longer with us. I want to just say about Levi that, you know, when the South Africans came to Hassolilin, they made a big change. They took up positions, and Levi was in the forefront of all these changes. And from Maskir, Narakez Meshek, Khalcha for many years, and a lot of the things that we do on Hassolilin, in the beginning, with the South Africans in particular, Levi.
Sorry, Dodi, I just want to say something about Marion.
Okay, please. Well, come up over here and say something about
Something about Marion.
I just want to say that when Marion came on Aliyah, Marion came on Aliyah, she must have been about 18 or 19. There's something out about 18. She came together with another friend called Sharon. And the two of them at that stage, Lenny and I, we were living in Forlorn, and they came to stay with us. And they both were very, very unhappy. Marion said she's going to go back to Johannesburg. Oh no, it was Marion and Sandra. What was her name? Sandra. Sandra Becker. The name Becker? Whatever. Anyhow, so she's going to go back to South Africa. Israel's a terrible place. She's not going to live here. Sharon said, I am going to live here. I'm going to go to kibbutz. The end is Sharon's in South Africa and Marion lived very happily on kibbutz Solalim.
Thanks, Selma. Selma and Lenny met together in Venezia. She was the secretary and Lenny was in charge of finance. Still is. Anyway, Lenny made a quick response that it's cheaper to marry Selma than to pay her wage every month. Okay, without further ado, I want to ask, yes, Dan,
I want to tell a little story. It's connected to Levi more than any other. When I came to the kibbutz, a short while I came for a short period, just for a visit, but I very much liked the people in the place. And I began working in the Falcha. And Levi was Merakez Falcha. And I decided that in winter I'd have to go and work in the kitchen, Toranut, for 2 or 3 months. And there was a group of South Africans in the army, and they came here, and there was a young lady that I fancied, and I wanted to go and meet her, and I said, I want to go for the weekend. I want to go for 1 weekend, just for Friday and Saturday. Lady said, you can't go now, it's not raining, you've got to work. When it begins raining, you can go. Okay, that was in September. In November, or it was November or December, they said I got to go into the kitchen. I said, yeah, but I just want to go for a weekend, just for 2 days. אי אפשר. אין מי שיעבוד, אתה צריך לעבוד במטבח. מיד אתה צריך להיכנס לתורנות. Okay, so I went into the kitchen. I waited 5 months for 2 days off. 5 months. Now, of course, by the time I got to visit the young lady, she had a boyfriend. And I missed out, but in the end, I was very lucky as well, because eventually I met Ilana, who is my wife today.
אני מקווה שאני אסיים. בכל אופן, סיפור, אני הגעתי מדרום אפריקה, אני מדבר בעברית שבני המשק ישמעו. ואני הגעתי כמה שנים אחרי החבר'ה, אני לא אזכיר את הבונים, זה סוד מקצועי, בכל אופן הגעתי לקיבוץ. ודרך מייק זטלר. מי שמכיר את מייק זטלר מהוותיקים, האבא שלו היה מלך המלפפונים בדרום אפריקה. כשאני אומר מלך המלפפונים, שהתגייסנו לנחל ביחד, הוא היה כבר בסוללים שנה לפני זה, החווה של האבא שלו היה בערך פי 7 השטחים של כל הסוללים. הוא היה מספר סיפורים. עכשיו, למה אני מספר את זה? באחד החופשות, כי הייתי מיועד לקיבוץ ישראל, עם הגרעין מהמונים. הוא אומר לו, אתה חייב לבוא לסוללים, אחלה קיבוץ, אחלה קיבוץ. הגענו לפה, חופשה אחת, חופשה שנייה, ונפגשנו עם החבר'ה, כמובן, ארו, דודי, כל החבורה הזאת, והיינו צריכים לצאת לסדרה בשיא החורף בגבעת אולגה בנחל. והציוד היה על הפנים. אז אני זוכר, ארו, זיכרונו לברכה, אומר, תשמע, מה שאתה עושה, אנחנו מכירים את הצבא. הם עברו את זה, צנחנים, כל זה. ביום הראשון בסדרה, על החוף, תקרא את כל הסמרטוטים שיש לכם, את הבגדים, את האוהל וזה, תלך לאפסנות, הם מקבלים חדש. זה עובד, אל תתחילו להילחם עם זה. הגענו לזה, אחרי שהיינו איזה 6 שעות בים עד פה, הגענו לאוהל, למהר, ומייק אומר, יאללה, let's close up. הוא אומר, בוא נקרא את הדברים. אנחנו פריירים, הכל קרוע, שק שינה אין וזה. קראנו את הכל לחתיכות. הלכנו לאפסנאים. הוא אומר, כן, מה זה? כך אתם נפגעים בציוד של צה"ל. קח חוט ותפירה ותחזירו את הציוד כמו שהיה. תודה לאירון, לדרום אפריקה ולכם שבאתם. ביי.
אני רוצה בשמחה להזמין את זיו, איפה הוא? לספר כמה דברים על לייבי. זיו הוא הבן הבכור, ולייבי היה... טוב,
We're talking English. בעברית או באנגלית? English. So 20 years ago, it's exactly 20 years ago that my father was killed by the car accident, and it was 1 week after we all celebrated his 60th birthday. And I want to read something, a poem that Richard read on his grave, which I like very much.
זה לא שלך.
אולי זה אבא שלי. It goes like this. Not how did he die, but how did he live. Not what did he gain, but what did he give. These are the units to measure the worth of a person on earth, regardless of birth. Not what was his station, but had he had a heart. And how did he play his God-given part? Was he ever ready, with a word of good cheer, to bring back a smile and banish a tear? Not what did the obituary in the paper say, but how many were sad when he passed away. So I think this is very true to my father, and I'm sure that everyone that are here today, they all carry the memory of... Kacha? I'm sure everyone are carrying, each one of you carry the memory of his own Levi, and all the years I feel that I was blessed to have this man as my father. I'm also emotional. This is something I took from him. And I think really I was blessed to grow up on the ground of my father's warmth and caring and humor and good spirit and positivity. I was grown up on the ground of his role model for what is leadership, what is contribution, what is caring, real caring for people.
And I think it wouldn't have been completed without the other piece, which is my mother, Marian, and their very special relationship that they built throughout the years. And also I would like to take the opportunity here today to recognize you guys, because I realized something very important, that you guys, you educated us not through words, but through actions. And the gathering like this and what you are doing by coming over here today is really not by words, but through actions, is educating us the values, the importance of values, the importance of friendship, and the importance of holding a community together. I'm emotional. And I would like to thank you for that, to thank you. I think by that, you are not only honoring those who are not longer with us, but you are honoring all of us. And it's very important, and thank you all.
With that, I want to, if someone wants to say anything, I want to just say amen to all the things that Ziva said. And what we're now going to do is walk through this entrance. You can ask all the chevra from Megaisim at Kol HaKochot, is that we're going out through this entrance. It's a 4-minute walk to the Gan Zikaron, where we won't be out in the sun too long, maybe 20 minutes. There's also water there. We must take out the cold water. Okay, we can